But we make these crazy arguments. Like, oh, Le'Veon Bell is now pickup. What he believes he's doing is honorable. Let everybody hate me because what I'm doing is the right thing. Earl Thomas gets injured yesterday, and I saw tweets from colleagues, Rich Eisen. See, no one, I believe he wrote, can question why Earl Thomas held out. Well, I can. I guess I'm no one. I mean, one of the things that's lost in this whole discussion, Earl Thomas and Le'Veon Bell, let's just start with Le'Veon Bell. The Pittsburgh Steelers would like to have him. And they'd like to pay him for a prorated edition of $14.5 million this season. Right? Like, that's a lot. $14.5 million. But Le'Veon Bell won't show up at work. Earl Thomas won a new deal or wanted to be dealt. And the Seahawks are like, look, we'll pay you $10 million to show up and play. They're still going to pay him $10 million even though he didn't show up for training camp or for practices. But somehow we've gotten on this Earl Thomas is sticking it to the man trade. See, what we've done is we got it's a moving target. There's changing narratives. It used to be that fans were convinced that NFL players, the second they got to the last year of their deal, and this still happens to some of those guys, they got to the last year of their deal, they'd be cut or their salaries would be reduced. And so the money at the end of the deal was kind of worthless. That's what he used to say. Now we have this, hey, NFL players don't have guaranteed contracts. Guess what? Earl Thomas's contract's guaranteed. So too is Le'Veon Bell's for this year. What they don't have is long-term, super long-term guaranteed contracts, which, let's be honest, are the bane of the existence of many NBA teams and some Major League Baseball teams. And the NFL, through their collective bargaining and through the fact that guys are in fact replaceable, and there's 53 of them, have created a salary cap and a way of concocting how the salary cap is actually figured out. That outside of quarterbacks, we don't want to pay guys beyond 3 years. Why would we? It's one thing for fans to say, hey, you make a lot. We do rich shaming, right? Billionaire owners, like, dude, the billionaire owners have nothing to do with it. Zero. First thing is, okay, the guy is a billionaire from running a business. Whoever owns these teams, they made their money by smartly running a business where you have what's called a profit margin. You want to make money. You'll get fans and sometimes media types like myself that'll say, hey, you make money on the value of the team. What's the big deal? For example, the Dallas Cowboys were purchased for, I don't know what it was, $175 million, something like that. And they're worth over $5 billion right now. There's a couple parts to that. Yes, they're worth that, but the Cowboys are still having to pay off the stadium that reportedly cost over $1 billion to build. Secondly, in order to recoup that $5 billion for and change in profit, you realize they have to sell the team, and they can no longer be the owners of the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, think about this discussion we have about NFL players' contract in any other business. Any other business. It doesn't make any sense. You own a business. Listen, you need to pay your employees so much money you don't make money on your own side. Like, no. Oh, no. But you make money on your business when you sell it. What if I don't want to make? What if I want to make money on the actual business? I'll sell it when I want to sell it if somebody gives me a ridiculous offer. But otherwise, I built this business from scratch. I want to keep building the business. And then I want my kids to take over the business. I like running this business. I don't want to be a serial entrepreneur, especially when you own one of something there's only 31 others. But we have such disdain for the man. And we have this in school, right? If a teacher calls home about a kid and says the kid was misbehaving in class, when it was me or you, there used to be hell to pay. My dad never asked questions. He didn't ask if the teacher was fair, if the teacher was right, if the teacher was mean. Right? You got to fix this. What I said in class, if it was out of line, it was out of line, period. Nowadays, many parents, not all, but many parents, if a teacher calls home, they call the principal. Something wrong with the teacher. No, there's something wrong with the kid because of how you raise them or because they're just being kids. They need to be disciplined. We hate Congress. It doesn't matter which side of the aisle is in charge of Congress. Generally, our perception of Congress is like something along the lines of like 20% favorable. We like congressmen, only the ones we elected. Everybody else apparently elected dopes, right? That's what we think. We don't like the NCAA because they're in charge of college athletes. We don't like teachers or principals. We don't like Congress or the president. We don't like people that run companies. We don't like the man. So when Earl Thomas gets hurt and gives his sideline the finger, the same sideline that promoted him and helped him make more money than any safety in the National Football League. When he signed his deal, 40 years, $40 million, to which he's going to collect every penny. Hey, here's something that no one has told you. Earl Thomas is paid like a top 5 safety, even though no longer a top 5 safety. And he's going to get every penny after getting hurt. And he's going to be a free agent. And if he's really any good at 30 years old and truly has a value, now he doesn't have to wait to see if he's traded to the Cowboys. Now if he can see if the Cowboys can sign him straight away. Or if his former defensive coordinator likes him in Atlanta, he can sign him. There can be a bidding war. He made $40 million over the last 4 years, and he'll make a bunch more next year. That's the way business works. But to give the finger, first of all, it's just dumb in business. Right? There's one thing to burn bridges. It's another thing to completely blow them up like Bridge over the River Kwai, right? I mean, they napalm that sucker. On national TV, when you break your leg and teammates, coaches, other team, they're kneeling, they're sending you your well wishes, and you have the chutzpah to go and, you guys know what chutzpah means? It means nerve, gall. To give the finger to your own sideline? What are you doing? You strike me as one of the dumber human beings on the face of the earth. The only person that was hurt, Earl Thomas can't play football the rest of this year, and he's going to have to answer injury concerns for the remaining part of his career because it's the same leg that he's broken now twice in the last 4 years. And it was kind of an innocuous hit. It was kind of like a nondescript. He dove over a guy laying on the field who had just caught a touchdown pass, to which, by the way, he was out of position. But all that said, like, you held out of training camp, didn't show up. You didn't go to practice. And oh yeah, by the way, this is what happens. Anybody will tell you when you play in an effort to play and not get hurt, more times than not, you get hurt. That happened to Earl Thomas. And the only people that really got screwed over the thing are the Seahawks because they would have liked to trade you to get some value in return. And they don't. And they're still on the hook for your salary. And the stupidity, frankly, of people in my position or people in even elevated positions on TV and radio, this is why guys hold out. The counter to that is, this is why teams don't pay guys in their 30s. Because they get hurt more. They produce less. And they're a pain in the ass. That's Earl Thomas. And you can go through the Raiders should have paid Khalil Mack. They couldn't. Would have killed their books. He wasn't going to show up unless he got a new contract. So they get 2 first-round picks for him. Le'Veon Bell isn't going to show up until week 10 unless he gets a new contract. And Steelers like, we don't want to give you a new contract. We gave you a contract. This one's worth $14.5 million for this year. And he doesn't want it. Somehow we've turned the team running a business operating under the provisions of the collective bargaining agreement into the bad guys. Sid. And while you may want to, we started by talking about the Rams, you may want to compare them to the Rams. You can't. The Rams have a quarterback on a rookie deal, and they have leveraged their future completely, giving Todd Gurley a deal a year before they had to, giving Aaron Donald huge money. They got all these guys on 1-year deals. Let's see how it works out. Brandon Cooks has been better than anybody thought. But look, the Patriots didn't think Brandon Cooks stunk. They just didn't think that he was as valuable as the contract he wanted, which is the same thing that the Saints thought. That's why he's on his third team in 3 years. No one's thinking that Brandon Cooks stinks. No one thinks that Le'Veon Bell stinks. No one thinks that Earl Thomas stinks. No one thinks that Khalil Mack stinks. We're all aware they're very good at different stages of their careers. But there's a value there. The value there. You know, you walk into a house and house hunting on the weekend, open house. The realtor comes up. What do you think? I think it's great. Do you want to buy it? No, why? I can't afford it. You know? Like, what do you mean you can't afford it? You make X. Yeah, well, I got 2 kids in private school. You know, I got car payments. I'm putting away money in my 401k. It doesn't make any sense to me. Doesn't mean I don't like the house. Just means I can't afford it. And then you get mad at, and that's like getting mad at somebody's finances, or the opposite side. You're getting mad at the realtor for the listing price of the house. Look, the guy bought it for $500,000. You put $100 into it. Housing goes up, 5-7% a year. They want $750 for the house. So then they go, well, I don't want to pay $750 for the house. Like, okay, don't buy the house. Somebody else will, or they won't. Wait till it comes down. Like, this is how, we just freak out. Like, oh, Earl Thomas is somehow a hero. Stick it to the man. Give him the finger. Like, he looks like an idiot to me. They gave him $40 million. They're paying him every penny that are on the contract, which is what NFL teams were accused of not doing for years. And and to their detriment, the Seahawks are doing it. And they lost an asset to which they could have recouped something in return. Relief for his salary and draft picks. They get nothing. And they get scorned from people in the media. Forget fans. Fans don't matter. You guys get emotional. Earl Thomas was an awesome player. That was a great defense. We're all sad it broke up. But it broke up over greed. Guys wanting to get paid. Guys getting older. And guys not understanding their value and how the whole thing works.